Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you for hanging out.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do kind of a video piece of kind of introducing you to the channel, since this series will probably, not this series, the Amity Island series is going to last a couple months. Like I've already kind of seen it on the calendar. It's going to cross over from August into 2024 as an every other week release. So I figured I should try to do some like loose interviews.
Hey, you're going to be with me for a long time. Sorry?
So Chris,
Hi.
how do we know each other?
Well, it's a long story. When we were both in Stalingrad together, back then it was called Petrograd. You stepped off the train in one station, I stepped off the other. And two of us, no. The actual thing, we met on Clubhouse. I don't remember what room it was, but I was involved in a Clubhouse community for D&D.
Yep.
And then
This was during lockdown.
This was during lockdown. This was during the global pandy. And I believe it was Allie. I think you came. Yeah, because you're like, oh, my boyfriend, he plays D&D. And we're like, oh, bring him in. We want to talk to him. And then you showed up and you're like, hard stances. Homebrew is cool. All these things are dumb. And then you immediately were like hardlining things. And I was like, I like this guy already. And then, yeah, we met in real life. And then you proceeded to know how hard of a partier I am now.
Yep.
Which I completely forgot about the other day. And I was like, oh, he's seen that side of me. But at that same party, you did go into a hot tub in your underwear. So we're fine.
I did.
Yes.
Because I did not bring my trunks.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when we went over that house for that party, like they don't tell you there's a pool there.
That was Taco's house,
That
right?
was Taco's house.
Yeah.
They got a house during the pandemic that was like pool, hot tub, pool house, which was like cool. Once this is over, they're gonna host parties, and host parties they did.
You have a interesting method of like figuring out what class people are.
Yes.
Can you explain that?
So my D&D kind of story, I guess, I'm more of a performer than anything. I actually I didn't play with anybody and for a long time. I read all the books, tried going to a couple things, and I just found like a lot of the old school D&D stuff, I didn't really like that kind of like the stigma, I guess would it be.
Okay.
Of like, because my first experience with D&D, I'm not answering your question, but I'm leading to it. I went to a game store with a level 1 character, half-orc rogue, or half-orc cleric, excuse me.
On paper.
Okay. And I was very confused, because I was like, I don't know where any of this is. And they're like, we don't have a level 1 table. How about level 13? And I was like, sure. Oh. And then the other players started yelling at me when I wouldn't heal them. So I got turned off from that. I went into the improv scene. I went into the comedy scene. And I was like, I want to do D&D. No one's going to play it with me. So in an effort to kind of like make the DMing experience easier was I started doing this with my like acting friends of like, I want you to make a character, but I want you to not know that you're making a character. So what I do is I take the essence of D&D as a whole of like spur of the moment improv mixed with like that play pretend that we all know from being a kid of like, you know, what would you do if there was a sword, a wand, and, you know, a pair of daggers in front of you? Like, what are you going to go towards?
Right.
And then you can kind of like, okay, the person that's going to go grab the sword wants to hit things, or they want to be able to be a swashbuckler. So you kind of like get them into that, and it's a branching narrative of making a character.
Yeah.
Would you want to do one right now?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
I love that there was a backstory tied into the answer.
Hey, as the person who put in the whatever page, we'll say it's a 20-page backstory for Halig, I learned that Discord had a character limit. It was one of my thing. But I like backstory. So, you played D&D, obviously. So how are we going to start? Carmichael, you wake up... your eyes are slowly starting to gain consciousness into the area where you're in. It's dimly lit. You feel the wetness and the hotness in your mouth that you only can recognize as blood. You look around you and you appear to be in some sort of warehouse, storage facility. There are no windows in this area. The only illumination you have is a small light bulb hanging about 10 feet from the ceiling with a little pull string underneath it. There is a circle drawn in chalk in the center of this four-sided area. You look to your left, deep in the corner over there, in kind of this like shadowed area. There is a door. On this circle, you see there is a large pentagram drawn. In the middle of that pentagram, you see a solid severed finger. What do you do?
I look at my fingers.
You look at all your fingers? You have all your fingers.
Okay. Is the door open or closed?
Would you like to go check it out?
I can't tell from here.
You can't tell if it's locked from here, no?
No, not locked. Closed or open.
Oh, it is closed. I apologize.
Sorry, no worries. So it's closed.
Yeah.
Got my fingers. There's a finger there. The light that's hanging is on.
It is on. That is how you can see right now.
Okay, I feel two thoughts.
Okay.
So the first thought, the gamer in me,
Yeah.
go up and get to that finger.
Okay.
But if I really think about the moment,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I see a door.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to not go into that circle or touch
Mhm.
the chalk and go to the door
Okay.
and try to open it.
As you go to stand up and you look down at your leg and you are not shackled, more or less tied. You see that there is a kind of a thick wire around your leg. Yeah.
Is it tight?
Seems pretty tight.
I would look for where the wire is connected.
Wire is connected to a small pipe, but it looks to be a drain pipe from either a shower or some sort of like large water area. So it's pretty sturdy, but you feel like
Wire.
might be able to pull on it. You're not sure what that would do to your leg.
I'll give it a quick tug.
Okay. It's on there.
Okay.
It's not like if you really pull, you might damage your foot a little bit, but you could pull this off. You feel like it's giving enough with that just
Is it the type of wire? Is it like aluminum wire where I can just bend it until it breaks?
I'm not even gonna do this. You start going like this and it starts to break.
Great.
You're thinking about this wire.
Yeah.
And that intellect of yours is starting to kick in, and you go, okay, how did I get here? How does this work? Where am I going? Like what person put me here? What thing put me here? Do you think in your mind, not as you as this person, but you as this character, would you think that this is nefarious in nature? Like, oh, I have been kidnapped because I am a special person, or I might have done something to deserve this?
Not me as a person.
You as a character. So that's how I think about it. Like, you in that video game mentality in your mind, that is okay to embrace.
Right.
But
I would say video game mentality.
Yeah.
It would be someone kidnapped me.
Okay. In your mind.
Which says a lot about the real me.
Hey, that's totally fine. Why would they kidnap you?
Drinking a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
And I might have said the wrong thing around the wrong person.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of vague possible situations there. There's a lot of variables. But I probably was too relaxed because of drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And either someone was fishing me or I was with my friend that I was open with.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you say the wrong things a lot of the time?
I can be often afraid of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I think not for the sake of others, but for the sake of making sure I know what I'm saying.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
It does. Do you feel like that you have to guard yourself of being your true self, or do you have to like?
I do have to mask a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The thoughts that go through my mind are faster than the words that can come out.
Mm-hmm.
And often if I'm having a conversation with you right now,
Yeah.
I have to, it is, you're saying after this you have to go to the gym. I'm in the gym right now mentally. And I'm doing like, I want to say 85-pound sets right now.
Nice.
And it's a lot.
Okay.
Especially after a 4-hour, 3-hour stream.
We'll pull back a little bit.
Yeah.
In this world that we've created right here, do you feel...
With a finger.
With a finger. Do you feel that in this moment, the character, Carmichael, who maybe says the wrong things a couple times, but his words have power and his brain is operating at a higher level and he's having to tamp himself down.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think in this moment where no one is watching that his full potential can be realized in this moment?
Yes, but it would not be verbal.
Mm-hmm. How does that manifest?
That would manifest in efforts. So like grunts, moans, hums, huh? What? This?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a lot of that. And I would be having internal dialogue, not monologues.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be working through, this means that, therefore this could mean this.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever the fuck that is, I don't want to mess with that.
As you're thinking about what that is, you feel a bit of a pull. Feel like if you were to tug on that pull, you could move that finger.
I wonder if that is true. And I try to move it.
Goes right to your hand.
I drop it. Is it like cut off, bleeding kind of thing?
It looks like a clean cut, not surgical in nature, like someone hacked it off.
Ugh. Okay.
Caucasian skin, long fingernail. It looks to be a finger of a person who was either identifying as female or a person who just had their nails done.
Right. Hello?
No response. You are still tied on your...
But I broke it.
Oh, yes, right. You broke it. My apologies.
Yeah, so I'm still tied, but I'm broke.
I got a
little wire sticking out.
You have a little wire sticking out. You are free to explore the room now that you are free.
I would try to leave as swiftly as possible.
You go to the door. It opens. Utter darkness stands before you. That little bit of light.
I close my eyes and close the door.
You close your eyes. You close the door. Can't see anything.
Open my eyes.
You open your eyes. The door is still there.
Do I hear breathing?
With that little bit of sense in your mind, you hear not hurried breath, kind of just like a very deep breath in, and then a wheeze out about 10 feet beyond the door. Now you open that door through the door. You open that door and it was dark. That little bit of light from the light bulb bled in, but not enough to illuminate where you could see. Now, as you're thinking about this, that little twinge of, wish I could see. You think in this moment, with that kind of knowledge and your untethered ability, could you manifest yourself seeing?
Gamer me? Yes. Real me? No. This is an interesting fact.
Okay.
Real me? I would want to not be able to see.
Okay.
At all.
Okay. So I will say that you cannot see.
Okay.
Cool. So you have opened the door, seen nothing. You closed your eyes. You've heard this person that appears to be sleeping, meditating.
Okay.
They're relaxed.
So I open the door and go back in, right? Is that where we are at?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's no sign of other exit because it falls off in the light.
It falls off in the light. As you are you entering the doorway? Your eyes start to adjust a little bit.
Oh no.
It's shades of gray.
Yeah.
But you can't see anything. You indeed see a man in what appear to be dark robes, high neck turtleneck, and a hood. And he is...
Okay, that's fine.
Next to him is a long, what looks to be a ritualistic dagger on the ground.
That's cool. Okay. Player me and real me is now coming to an alignment.
Good.
Cover your goblin's ears.
Okay.
I would go for the dagger.
Okay.
And then try to chokehold the man. And if he struggled, I would not stab him in the side, but put the dagger up against his side to stop him.
He is in a chair, leaned up. Are you going to situate yourself deftly around him, or are you going to rip him out and then...
No, I would go around him the best I can, and the moment I notice that he would notice, it would be full pounce.
Okay. Do you think you're good at this? Is this something you've trained for? Not necessarily like you're...
This is completely... My muscles are being agile out of fear.
Not out of trainedness.
No, it's I need to do this out of complete fear. Like it's like Stray trying to get what they need and then will attack if necessary.
Cool. You get this guy and you get it on his side and he wakes up and goes, please, I don't...
Where am I?
You are in the warehouse in the Docks District. Please don't kill me. Please.
What am I doing here?
You were mouthing off to the benefactor and we had to bring you in. You were going to be next sacrifice and then we got busy.
Where's the exit?
And he kind of looks and you see his head turns to the right and you see to the right and you haven't had an opportunity to really look around this room because there is a person there and you were fight or flight response. You see a long hallway, doors on either side, about 2 on your left, 3 on your right, and about 50 yards down the hallway there is a large there's a large metal door with one of those like slat things where you can open it up and see through.
3 doors on the right, 2 doors on the left. Yep. Down the hallway and a slat door.
Please, if you let me go, I will...
Who else is here?
10 of us.
Which door's the exit?
He points to the right door, the last door on your right. So the second door on your right.
Someone on the other side of that door.
I don't know. I was sleeping.
Thanks. Stab him in the side, pull it out, cut throat.
Curiously enough, as you go to stab him in the side, bit of force appears at your side. That little twinge in your brain that allowed you to pull that finger, you feel an availability to you that you've never felt. You could rip this knife out and pull forward if you wanted to.
Too messy. I'm gonna pull out, cut throat.
As the life slowly leads him, and I lay him down.
Lay him down.
In this moment,
take my breath.
Yeah, you are confident that no one has heard you.
Okay. I try to pull his body and kind of shuffle him under whatever that table was.
Pull and shuffle him under the table. You feel pretty good. In this moment, you've just taken a life.
Mm-hmm.
You're high alert in your brain. You're high alert everywhere else. How's your hand? Are you steady?
No. I'm actually kind of like in that like early panic attack mode where you're just like you're trying to free yourself from it. So that's where I'm at.
So a knife wouldn't feel comfortable in your hand.
No.
Okay. You can keep it, obviously.
I'm keeping it.
Yeah.
What does he have on him?
You go through his clothes. He has what appears like it's like a half staff, like what we would in D&D call a rod.
Right.
It's at double ends. It has skulls on either ends of it. The long obsidian-looking kind of carving on it is in a language that you like squint a little bit, and then it starts to form in your mind. As you hear what it says, instead of reading it, you hear it, and a voice comes to you and says, "This is the staff of the deceiver. Would you like to know?"
I look around before I answer.
You've taken a call on your cell phone.
Yeah, not really where the voice is coming from. Like, is there anyone about to walk in the room?
Around, no one's here.
take the guy's hoodie, and I pocket the rod. I'm like, I don't know if I should respond. Okay. And I'm gonna go to the last door at the end of the hall.
With the door he told you to?
Yeah.
You start walking down the hallway, and then you hear, "Right, let's go get drink. I need to get another bottle." On the second door on the left, you hear as a lock is being getting undone. What do you do?
Is there like a push lock on the doorknob?
Smart. You look at this. You are not walking quick enough. That little bit of tug in your mind starts to go, you could do this yourself.
I lock it.
It locks. It goes, what the shit?
And I hurry up. I keep walking. And if I hear, I'll take note that I did that. Keep walking. And I'll be like, if they open the door, I'm going to shut the door. Try that.
Okay.
But I'm going to get to this door that I'm trying to get to.
In this moment, you haven't responded to this voice.
No.
You feel, whereas everything else has been like, it's like reaching with a muscle you haven't felt before. This feels like something in the pit of your stomach. Not like you're going to throw up, but more or less kind of that feeling you get when you're excited, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
So it's that nervous energy, but you feel like you could tap into that nervous energy. As the door starts to jangle, you go to the last door. It's locked.
Unlock. And I shake the whatever door that I'm trying to open, and I'm thinking and like whispering
How hard
panically.
Are you thinking?
Like panicking thoughts. Like number one priority thoughts, maximum.
Something extraordinary happens, and I want you to describe what happens here.
Okay.
This can take the form of you opening the door so violently that the person is standing behind it gets rocketed back.
Okay.
The person behind the door gets distracted, or you can open this door in such a way where it opens and you are not there.
Open and forcefully push them out.
You feel this and you turn your hand into a forceful push. The door gets knocked off of its hinges. The person behind it gets compacted so hard that they fall to the ground. You hear a, "What the?" And doors start jangling open as they start to try. And it appears that every door in this warehouse is locked and they are struggling. What do you do?
Chase mode, just like, where are my exits? Where am I going?
You look around, there's a door on the end right here. It appears to be one of those metal security doors. It's locked on the inside, however.
Okay, I would run up to it and just be like, unlock.
You can just turn the lock. If you like to use your magic, you're more than welcome to.
Well, if there's a lock, I'll just unlock it there and move through.
You unlock it, you enter a doorway, and it appears to be, you are outside now, but where you are outside, there is that entry-level cage. So like when you go to a government building, there's that cage outside that you kind of have to go through. Typically, where there's like a metal detector or anything. No metal detector here, but there is a cage.
Progress.
You got outside, you slammed the door behind you. It is locked, and it's available from the inside. You got to get out of here. Do you feel like you could climb over the gate, or are you looking to hide? Are you looking to sprint away? What's your game plan now that you're outside? Outside, you see that there are a long corridor. It's caged around you. So it is like, I want to say 10 feet out, 8 feet on either side from the doorway, with a open ceiling. Or open.
Are there like other baddies, guards around?
Not that you can see. You look and you are basically like you're at the LA docks. Like kind of where like there's those large like industrial buildings where it's late at night. There could be someone here, but they are not around an area where they could be heard or seen right now.
I will go to climb and climb over.
Cool. Do you feel like climbing is easier for you? You're wiry and you're able to take out a guy and you're like doing it, but you're are you strong or are you more like quick?
Depends on the flimsiness of the fence. or the cage.
Mhm.
If it's pretty strong, I can find my like climbing feet
Mhm.
and get over. If it's flimsy, I'm a little loosey goosey on it.
Okay. It's sturdily built.
Okay, then grip, grip, pull, step, step, jump.
Okay. You get up over here and leap down just as the door to the warehouse opens. A similar hooded figure stands out, holds a crossbow at you. Small hand crossbow. Doesn't make any noise.
Don't. Please, don't. Will be the thoughts that I have looking back.
Thoughts or words? Now, are you saying this with your mind or with your mouth?
Mouth.
So you say, don't.
Yeah.
And he stops.
I take a beat to notice, and I turn and run.
As you turn back and do the old over the shoulder, he is still there. Stop.
I'm no longer looking back now. I will just keep going.
Cool. At this point, as you're running, the noise floor starts to curl around your ears, and you just hear your internal breathing of just saved you back there. You saved yourself. But let this be a lesson. And I have a character for you, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So you didn't want to be strong. You rejected the kind of like extra planar thing. So I would think that either a soul knife rogue or a dex-based psi warrior.
I feel like the last time we did something similar like this,
Yes.
it was you gave me
I think I gave you like a cleric or something.
no, you gave me Shadow Knight or something. What is that?
Echo Knight.
Echo Knight.
I gave you a cleric.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was like I think Star or Moon Knight.
Twilight?
Twilight, that's what
Twilight cleric. Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. But that was it.
Yeah.
I haven't done one of those in a while.
So this is Chris, everybody.
Hey, everybody. What was that? A 25-minute tangent?
Yeah, this has been about 20 minutes and we just played D&D.
Yeah.
One-on-one.
Hey. That's the best D&D though. If you get with people and they're real good, it's the best.
It's hard.
It is hard.
Don't be mistaken. That is hard.
Yeah.
It's really a trust exercise.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, thank you for doing that with me.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
I asked you to come on and play a Jaws fantasy game.
Yeah.
What was your first thought when I said that?
How can I be the most ridiculous character I can be?
Okay.
Honestly, that was my thing. Because my dad is still afraid of Jaws to this day, where he will not go in any body of water that he cannot see the bottom of.
I had a dream when I was a kid. I was swimming, and it was like a mix of like Jaws and Deep Blue, I think the movie is. With
Deep Blue Sea?
Samuel Jackson's in it. Yeah. And I was swimming, trying to get air, and I turned around and I saw the shark coming at me, and it kind of turned into like third person profile, and the shark was I was the size of a tooth.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it went back to first person, it bit me on the side of my leg on the inside.
Oof.
And I woke up screaming. Still, my muscles in my leg felt it.
Ugh,
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate that so much. Yeah, I mean, when you asked me to be a part of this, obviously very honored to be asked to be part of anything.
Mm-hmm.
But this game specifically, I appreciate that like Jaws has a very specific like act structure, and the way that it is edited specifically is really great at telling a story.
Yeah.
Because there are these group of people that should not be together, that are forced to be together. They are in close quarters. You have those backstory moments like the USS Indianapolis speech and all that stuff. You have like obviously the town trying to cover it up and all these other like story beats that I think lend itself to a D&D story. So I was like, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
And it is so far.
Did you? I get a repeating response from a lot of different people. When I said Jaws D&D, did you think Forgotten Realms Lord of the Rings fantasy, or did you think, oh, it's going to be the 1970s?
We had spoken previously
Mhm.
about like a that type of game, and you had like I think you had like bounced ideas off of me at one point, so I knew it was going to be like pseudo fantasy. However, a lot of the one shots that I run are kind of in anachronistic time periods like
Yeah.
the 70s and 60s.
You built Halleck.
Yeah, Halleck Stormseeker.
You picked a dwarven barbarian.
Mm-hmm.
Taco picked a halfling rogue,
Mm-hmm.
and we got a half-elf paladin from
Mhm.
Jordy. Allie was originally going to be a half-elf druid, and I was like, oh wow, I hit every stereotype at one table. This is gonna be incredible. And I started rethinking the world of like, where are druids in there?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, oh, there's gonna be a druid involved. I need to understand what that means in the world, right?
Right.
And then, a couple weeks later, a couple weeks before the first game, Allie's like, I'm gonna be an artificer.
Yeah, and now you have to think of a whole
Whole
different
other
thing.
thing. What drew you to dwarven barbarian?
I've always loved dwarves. I think that they're little goobers, and I love them to death. Just obsessed with mining, driving too deep into the things of Khazad-dûm. No, I like dwarves. I identify as a dwarf
Yeah?
in my regular life.
It's a tall one.
Just like a really tall dwarf.
You got the schnoz for it.
I do. I really do. And I love ale, and I've been known to mine. No, not really. No, I like dwarves. I like their little lore so very much.
What do you think about the dwarves so far as you understand in my world?
I mean, we had a little bit of back and forth on like where he could be from, where the mines are, because there's Kors and then there's like another one, because the Kors are military bases.
No, so Core is dwarven for Citadel City.
Okay.
In Dwarven, they see it as city,
Mm-hmm.
but when translated to Common, the response was, oh, Citadel, because it's more of a fortress meets a city kind of situation. Dwarves don't care. That's the translation. But the citadels are named after different materials.
Mm-hmm.
So there is the golden citadels, the golden cores.
Mm-hmm.
They're very much the wealthy cities. That's why they're called gold. I played around with the idea of there being coppers and silvers and just play off the currency.
Mm-hmm.
There definitely is at least one copper one, just not on this continent.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the platinum core, which is nearby Deepport. Port Deep. What are my words?
Hey,
Port Deep.
it's only your world.
It's
man.
only my world. But the platinum core is nearby that.
Mhm.
And so is, on the other side of Port Deep, the iron core. The iron core is military.
Mhm.
Platinum core is the center metropolis, where all roads lead here,
Mhm.
and thus platinum.
So, question for you now.
Yeah.
Are there roads underground between these
Yes.
cores? And are they like your typical dwarven roads where they are like carved but also raised? Kind of
Yes.
interesting. So then,
There's a whole pathway system going there.
mhm.
There are even caverns that are essentially dirt off roads,
Mhm.
you know? Just got to find the right analogy to fit it, but it's
Right.
essentially the same mentality, but underground first.
Mhm. So then, what would possess a dwarf to leave dwarven society in Erda?
In the Second Dawn,
Mhm.
migration and blending of societies, dwarves are moving out, moving above ground, moving to different places
Mhm.
because opportunity and prejudice change.
Mhm.
In the First Dawn, oh, is it your classics?
Yeah.
But that's games like the Curse of Amity. where we, depending on your guys' choices, things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Great example, episode 1. We go to your backstory.
Crazy. Am I allowed to talk about that?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll let you finish and then I'll talk about it.
We go to your backstory because your backstory said, oh, the town I'm from was raided. Okay. And you pick Port Deep.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, Port Deep gets raided. Got it. It didn't lock into my brain that town was like gone, because it was invisible information until I thought, oh, I'm going to start the session with your backstory. And that means it makes it real. And then when we sat down right before the cameras start rolling, Jordy is like picking the town that his character's from, and he's like, oh, Port Deep, but he's like 200 years younger than you.
Yeah.
So that means by him just making this out of nowhere choice, he just world builded.
Oh yeah.
And just was like, the town recovered and people live there now.
Yeah.
And I was just, it was an experience I had by myself right there. And I was like, I can't wait to start rolling.
Yeah. And that was the thing too, because like you didn't tell me that we were going to do that.
I thought about giving you a heads up.
Yeah.
So many times. And I was like, how do I ask for... The most important thing I need to ask Chris is, hey, did you name the important people in your backstory?
And I forgot her name. Yeah. Brunhilde Lowborough.
Brunhilde.
Yes.
I thought that was amazing.
Yeah. That entire thing, like you being like, Chris, I want you to describe your character with the information that they're 150 years younger. I'm pretty sure if you go to the edit, you can see my face go, because in my brain, I'm like, the reason Halleck has the accent that he does is because he has spent this entire life running away from this day.
Yeah.
And running away from this event.
And that's 100 years.
And
so
I'm just
that's
like,
plenty of time for an accent to come out of.
Okay, where's my brain go? And like I was agonizing for like weeks over like, okay, I have to do a realistic accent of this person that like has been on the sea, and like I was.
He's also got red skin because of dwarves.
Red skin. Yep.
That's something that we actually skipped over, the fact that dwarves in my world have red skin.
Yeah.
When I first thought about that, I was like, what are the problematic implications?
I can never cosplay.
You can. If someone can cosplay as a red tiefling.
That's true. That's very
true. You just need a big enough beard.
I just need...
And have a strong enough Scottish accent. And everyone's like, what are you?
I'm a dwarf. God, yeah. Yeah, why do they have red skin?
The iron oxide in their body is oversaturated from being underground for so long. Lore-wise, there's also stories of the first wars were people given to the mountain and the volcano queen to, as like not just sacrifice, but children that we can't take care of. And so the mountain took care of them. And that's not necessarily what might have actually happened, but that is what folklore tells.
Gotcha.
That the first dwarves may have been gifts to the mountain versus, like, I think Pathfinder's like, they're born from the minerals, who should actually be more red than mine.
Right, yeah.
But they are also related to the half-giants, the Goliaths.
Really? Okay. Interesting.
That's a distant relative, but also half-giants, Goliaths, are related directly to orcs.
Huh.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is the Age of Thunder.
The Age of Thunder?
Yeah.
And when did that come about? Do you have a lore document?
I have a timeline.
Okay.
I world build in time.
Interesting. So where do you start? The beginning of time?
I start with what game I am in. And then what are my players? What races, species, or classes they are. I start there and I make an adventure. And then in my free time, I have to answer questions why things are the way they are. And then I just have to work my way backwards. And I was like, how far back is too far back, right?
Mhm.
Like, where's the beginning? And then I was like, okay, that's the beginning. And then I just like, I listened to other people's interpretations of, let's say, Forgotten Realms, Greyhawks, Lord of the Rings. I listened to all these different interpretations of their timelines, and I kind of just picked what was cool first, and then I flowed through it as like a story re-edit, and I found where the transitions, the peaks and the valleys of different wars and clashes happen. And then like literally the day before session 1, I was like, oh, the beginning isn't the beginning.
What? So I'll let you.
I'll bring up the timeline.
I'll let you look up your timeline, but I hope this is a simple question.
Yeah.
So you built Erda just for us.
I built it for my home game originally.
Uh-huh.
So I started DMing because my friend Jarrett, who DMs Fables of Refuge,
Shout out to Jarrett.
he was DMing Refuge while DMing a home game all at once. So he was DMing like up to 8 times a month. And he was too proud to like communicate. He's getting stressed out.
Yeah.
And then, you know, a couple of us had to like corner him in a friendly way and be like, no, dude, you take a break.
You need to corner him and tell him he's being stressed out.
And I was like, I can step up and be moved to DMing so you can be a player and just chill. And this was during lockdown.
Oh.
And so I got the starter kit for 5e and I started DMing. And I was like, I already started world building.
Time out. You started DMing during the pandemic?
Yeah.
You're joking.
Over Zoom.
You're joking.
No, why?
No, literally Taco and I and like Allie and Jordy and I, we have a player chat. You're not supposed to know about that.
I saw. I'm so happy and proud of you guys.
Yeah.
I have not seen anything.
Yeah. I've said to Taco privately too that I was like, this is a style of DMing that like I absolutely adore, and like I've been curious and I'm gonna ask him in this interview how long he's doing it. It makes me really mad now.
Why?
Because you're good and you haven't been doing it for that long.
Oh, thank you.
Jesus. I'm over here sifting through Ed Greenwood's fucking trash.
I want to say Age of Thunder is about 5 or 6 ages before the Second Dawn. And the Age of Thunder is about 2 or 3 after the first.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one's also the longest because no one was tracking time back then.
Yeah.
It's the first era, which is common knowledge to anyone of your character's age.
Sure.
It's just the primordial age. Because there is no known primordial or elemental planes.
Okay. No known. So like they don't know if they exist.
They don't know they exist, but the Genasi have been around
Yeah.
since the beginning.
And like their pantheon, their faith is like
Built into
yeah.
They keep the balance just like our soil balance is important, our fire cycles, our water
Right.
cycles. They are in charge of that. Our wind cycles around the planet, they're in charge of that. If they fall,
Things are screwed.
climate change.
Interesting.
And then I think the oldest city on the planet, his name is Luum or Lorm, something like that. It's the perfect soil between silt, clay, and sand.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not your last name. Loam, that's what it is.
Loam.
It's the perfect soil
Yeah.
because it can move water really well. It can grow anything really,
Yeah.
and it has to be tempered. So it's kind of the capital. All the elementals live there, as well as their own dedicated spots.
Mm-hmm.
But like this is where it comes to like politics for the Genasi, for the masses, it happens there.
That's bananas. So kind of every Genasi is in a sense a druid then.
To a degree.
To a degree. Crazy.
My
I threw
brain
that
my brain
character
is
out.
nuts.
Hey, I'm here for it. So you talked a lot about ages. What constitutes an age for you, and why are we in the second?
A shift of the time.
Okay.
So the first dawn is marked as the first sunrise. Before then, there was no sun.
We're out here not rocking a sun? You're joking.
I think the first dawn was maybe a millennia, maybe 2, because the first dawn, the last elves faded away. Before that, the ages were very short. 550 years. Very, very sporadic because it was constant different wars. And they counted the ages among the wars too. Before the wars, an age was like 6,000, sometimes 12,000 years, because you have the elves are around and they live forever, and you're not on a single lifetime will it be an age.
Yeah.
But the later, after all these different wars, more short-lived characters start showing up. The dwarves, the half-elves, and eventually the humans, where the timeline is now shifting. And now humans and half-elves and dwarves are experiencing a completely different world. And I don't think people think about that, where it's like, you live, as a dwarf, you live close to 400 years. That's 4 at best.
Yeah.
Human lives. Best. Politically, no one could agree that, in 800 years, would a single age now change? Even though for humans, probably, like something dramatic has probably happened in the last 800 years.
Yeah.
But to dwarves, no. We've been rock solid.
The jokes are great. Okay, so like if an age of conflict basically makes an age, and essentially these shorter-lived people have shortened those ages, what happened with the elves? Are we allowed to know that?
No.
God. Dang, I know, it's the worst. Oh, man, you just want to be aloof and just not care about anything. Love being an elf. Okay, interesting. So then, obviously, like you've kind of like Elkin are a thing, like half elves are a thing.
Yeah, so
varying degrees.
Elkin, it would be like half elf, gnome. They would fall in that category.
Okay.
Gnome, I think I overanalyzed it, and I'm stuck with that. Gnomes are essentially the halflings of elves, right? Halflings are just little people, little humans.
Dwarfs are little Goliaths.
Little Goliaths.
Yeah.
Kobolds, little, and that's kind of, and then I started falling into the game mechanics side of that. I was like, I can just do this, and that's easy for my brain to quickly build stuff.
Yeah.
Somehow I'm good at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, the Age of Thunder is when elemental monsters first appear. No. The Curse of the Elements first appeared. Goliaths first appeared, and at the end of the Age of Thunder, orcs came to be.
So, all of these ages...
Because orcs are essentially... You would know... Your character would know this. An orc, full-blooded orc, is the Hulk.
What?
Yeah, they're large. They're not medium.
Okay. This is news to me.
Or just like the tall end of medium, just like a Goliath. Yeah. So if I was to do minis, I would just buy a bunch of Goliaths and paint them.
Interesting. So you mentioned that orcs in the previous things were evil?
Yes.
Who did they serve?
Roll a history check.
I don't have my die. I didn't think I was gonna need this.
No. So who they used to serve is a little bit of a blank check right now. Not relevant.
Just an evil deity.
Sure.
Okay.
It's just not relevant yet, because what becomes relevant in my mind is all this stuff is foundation for improvisation.
Gotcha.
It's only relevant if it's relevant in the game I'm playing.
Okay.
Because this is a lesson I've learned in my short years as a DM is number one priority, players.
Interesting. Because I don't know if you're going to keep it in the episode, but I'm going to tell the people at home right now. I name dropped Umberly.
Yeah.
And Umberly straight up doesn't exist.
She used to for a minute.
Yeah.
And I was trying to find like not lore, but like stories of like Umberly and Molora and stuff like that. And then God, I suck at remembering the pronunciations of my lesser deities. They're built off of Filipino lore. So God forbid my pronunciation, so I have to write down all the phonetics. Umberly is such a fascinating character.
Yep.
To the point that I may or may not leave it in the edit still.
Okay.
Of like, maybe it was Umberly. Maybe Umberly is just a false god. Maybe it's just a myth. I don't know yet. It depends when I sit down and actually edit and have to make that choice.
Interesting. What a weird thing. Like, I'm making this canon in the edit. Yeah. That's weird.
I don't know. Or maybe I had this thought in the shower. Maybe to some people, maybe to dwarves, it's Umberly.
Gotcha.
And in that case, I have to make sure that the edit reflects that.
Gotcha. Interesting. God, that is really.
It's
cool.
a fascinating.
That is
thought.
a fascinating like thing. It's like, okay, you are the DM, and like your thoughts and opinions at a table are like, yeah, boom, go for it. And then as an editor, you're like, is that something I want to do?
Yeah.
Do I want to do that?
That was something I learned from Son of a Dungeon.
Yeah.
Was like retell the story in post. Because prior to that, it was very uncut. Coming off of Son of a Dungeon, I was like, I edit a lot of Son of a Dungeon.
Yeah.
I would like to do more of that live. So there's like, the editing is really cleaning off the edges and not reshaping the whole thing.
I see.
And that's why we have a lot of homebrew rules.
Yeah.
Is to reduce that labor in post.
I do want to shout out your homebrew rules though. They are great.
Even though we mess a lot of them up.
But that's the thing. It's like we're in the chronological of this. We are in episode 1.
Right.
And like you'll probably hear my accent change too because I'm
Am
more
I blocking your head.
Oh no, you're fine.
Okay.
I'm also gesticulating quite a bit, so I might be blocking.
We're pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, like that accent's gonna change. Like, and obviously not like a lot, but like I'm gonna get into a place where I can like do it more consistently and
more sustainable
more
than
sustainably.
once in a time
Yes.
on Voices time with the mirror.
Yeah, dude, Voices time in the car, my favorite.
I don't have a car, so it's like I have to either go for a walk or I have to wait for her to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I'm like,
oh yeah, you get, dude. I live alone now. It is the best. I can have I can just be fully naked doing Voices time by myself. I have gotten caught once.
Oh my gosh.
I was outside by my pool and I was just like, and then they will like this, and the person's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yep." Bye. I can never talk to you again. Please don't think I'm weird. God. Are you planning to do voices for like characters?
I'm going to try. I know my weak spots as a DM. My biggest weak spots are role playing.
What?
Probably my biggest weak spot. It's hard. Right. But it also demands a lot from me emotionally to do that. And over the characters I've done, the less they are of me, the easier it is to roleplay.
Yeah.
Because it's not what I would do. It's whatever this motherfucker would do.
Yeah.
I didn't do it. My tree character did it.
Of course.
So it's my weakest spot, and then I think as a DM, it's definitely my weak spot because while I'm role playing, I'm thinking mechanics, I'm thinking of the next scene and stuff like that, and I want to be present for my players.
Interesting.
And that's all happening at once.
I think you did a really good job. I think that like specifically the two scenes that stand out are the little one-on-one with Ellen and Trace, like in the hold where you're talking and there's like that exchange. I was like, this Ellen character is super interesting, and I want to know more. Obviously, Allie and I were like losing our collective minds about this relationship and this potential child. But like in this moment, like I was not like, and that's the beauty of a good DM, which you are, of like, I don't see you in that moment playing Ellen. I see Ellen. And like I saw that again when you were doing Marlon, and that little thing with
Marlon's harder because Ellen, I have a plot thread attached to her, so I know what's going on. Marlon, I'm like, dude, buddy, you're part of the crew. Something bad can happen. I don't know how much I can commit to you.
But that's the thing. It's like I don't see
and
that.
And then he makes it.
Yeah. So well, we don't know.
He made it. He made it to the beach.
That's true. He did. He's not Hobbs. He didn't get eaten in one bite.
Nope.
God. But no, I see them as real people, and like, hats off to you. Like that's like when you can. It doesn't have to be the voice. It doesn't have to be the like intonations of how you're doing it. It's just they are a believable person in their actions.
Yes.
Which I think is paramount.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Compliments.
Yeah.
Now I'm struck.
Oh. Wow.
Where were we now?
We were asking about ages. I went into dude, I'm a tangent person.
Yeah, that's all good.
All over the place. Go ahead. Yeah.
So wow.
Yeah.
Wow. My brain.
One compliment and you're off the. No. I mean, I could ask you questions about
ask
the world.
Ask me questions.
Yeah.
Ask me questions.
Why did you decide on the Jaws thing?
Okay, so it kind of started when I did the Alien game.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's Alien RPG, the system that we played, which was phenomenal. Yeah. We did a session 0 for me with, I think, 2 players that never made it to the final game. They were just completely other people. And we just played for 8 hours straight. And then we played it again, same scenario, with a different group of players. Allie had to like, I don't know what's going on.
Oops.
But the practice for me was I have to learn a system before I get on camera, at least enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked the idea when we got to the final game. Jake Roper, he played Dusty the Marine.
Mm-hmm.
Big Alien fan, massive Alien fan.
Yeah.
Knows the movies by heart. Neither of you are as big of a fan as me. I made 4 episodes about Alien.
I watched Alien Covenant. That's how.
That's a good movie.
It shouldn't have been an Alien film. It should have been his own thing.
Are you thinking of Covenant?
Covenant's the one where they like
run from the
no.
That's
sprinting.
That's
Prometheus.
Prometheus.
Never mind.
Prometheus only matters, has only a little value to fill in blanks for Covenant. Covenant is a phenomenal Alien movie.
Okay.
Absolutely wonderful. You get what he was trying to do with Prometheus, and then you get Alien meeting in the middle. It is great. But I loved the idea, like, you've watched movies, you have expectations. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to flip those expectations on you. You know the movie, and Allie's played the game now twice.
Mm-hmm.
This is the 3rd time, yeah. And I flipped the expectations on her. And I really like the idea of pitching you something that you know.
Okay. I see. Yep. Dots connected. And then flipping expectations.
Interesting. But then if the pitch worked for you as a player, the pitch will work as content.
Yes. Interesting. Okay. This guy's pretty smart.
So like I have planned on the queue. We're gonna do the Blade Runner one shot.
Oh.
I've already made homebrews for that system to take what I need from Alien, which is a different system, and to take from GTFO, which is a wonderful, wonderful horror survival escape room game.
Okay.
And you really get play with your guns and toys vibe in there.
Nice.
So I got those homebrews ready for a no mini complete theater of the mind sci-fi horror action adventure, which gets harder to pitch because now it's less of a specific thing. I have Dante's Peak.
You told me about this.
Which takes place early in the Second Dawn.
Oh, it's going to be in Erda.
Mm-hmm. No.
No elves.
I'm building what I like the idea is moving backwards.
Interesting.
With the adventures.
Yeah.
Dante's Peak happens early Second Dawn, so pre-Amity.
Interesting.
I have Wizard of Oz ready. Which also takes place because in the home game, because a lot of my world building also came from Cobalt Press, and in their Shadow Realm there is the Black Brick Road. Oh yeah, you can come across the Black Brick Road in the material plane, and if you follow it long enough, you will find yourself in the Shadow Realm. And I was like, this is wonderful. Taking.
Cool. I will attempt not to remember that because if you present Hallowed with a Black Brick Road, I'm not going down it.
Oh, the Black Brick Road, the Shadow. When they showed up there in the home game, it was amazing because I described the most disorienting experience because the Shadow Realm for my world is the underworld.
Interesting. Okay.
The god of death is the one who ferries you from the underworld to the beyond. And the reason why resurrection spells can work is if their spirit is still in the Shadow Realm before they're ferried on, and then you need bigger, more powerful spells and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of stuff going on. The Shadow Realm is essentially nighttime in the Fey Realm. They're the same place.
The Shadow Fae.
The Shadow Fae. Lord his character name Krampus is in the Shadow Realm. They got to meet him. He's running a carnival.
Cool.
It's wild stuff.
That's incredible.
But it's all being built because of the players I have.
Yeah. What?
Are you hungry? Do you want to eat? Go ahead and grab stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
Babe, do it.
It's literally your house.
Do what you need to do, and we will adjust.
I don't know.
You can eat at the table. It's not in. No.
No. Sorry, Alan.
You're fine, babe.
Well, I'll apologize for the
Always
That's okay.
Yep, that's my fault.
Definitely your fault.
I can't find the. I don't know where is it. Just put the hard drive on top, and then you can move it.
Oh gosh.
You have a long day.
Yeah, dude. We're meeting with so I work for a tech company. I won't say on camera. But we have a Japan office that's being built, and I might go there. But last week was the first week I got salaried, and I had to wake up at 2 a.m. for a call, which was bad.
What time did you go to bed? That's the better question.
That was the thing. I was like looking online is like, do you go to bed and then wake up, or do you just stay up? And I went to bed and woke up, and that was the worst idea.
Yeah, I prefer you try to go to bed
Yeah.
reasonably close. So it's like a 2-hour window, really.
Yeah.
But I prefer the painful wake up at the new time.
Yeah.
And then the tools are, okay, if I'm going to get up 3 hours early, I'm going to have my jug of water ready to go when I go to bed. I'm going to chug that when I wake up, and I'm going to jump right in the shower. Just aid me as best I can. 20 different alarms, and my phone has to be across the room to force me to get up to turn off alarms. Exactly.
I love the voice of truth that's just coming in to humble you.
These are the tools that do work when I apply them.
Incredible.
No, I didn't, because I didn't have to get up super early.
Roasted.
I only got up at around like 6:30.
That's way earlier than I got up, so that's fine. Man. God, there's so many things I want to talk about. So we are doing this for
Charity. No.
No. We're doing this for what? Like you slotted for like 15 episodes?
14 to 15. I basically 7 sessions, give or take buffer. So I'm expecting 14 to like 16 episodes. The end of session 1, I was like, oh, that in prep, I was like, oh, that's going to be the lunch break. But I kept adding flashbacks.
Yeah. Super dope. Can we talk about that really quick? The flashback sections that you've done. Obviously, I'm biased because they're all about me right now. But
Taco got one.
But man, what an interesting concept to like just, all right, Bryn and Meridian. You see, Meridian sees that Bryn is swimming up to go for this thing, and she passes out. Meridian, we're gonna go back to the backstory of why you and Bryn are friends, and I was like, what? Like, what a great mechanic, because then it's like, yeah, if you had like, if this was like just a random game between people, like just regularly, like that, what a great character building moment for those two players. But also, what a cool thing to be like, oh, also, like, the two people at the table, like, they're friends. Am I friends with you? Maybe we should think about that. And it, like, gets those, like, wheels turning. And, like, I mean, we were gushing here for, what, 45 minutes after we stopped taping of, like...
And Taco even hit me up. It was like, she can't get out of her head me baiting her with the note in her flashback.
Yeah. Incredible. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm super excited about that. The reason I asked you about the number of episodes was I've never got to ask this of any DM I've ever had.
Okay, then hold the thought.
I have to get a chair.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no worries.
Go ahead. She's in the background.
Nice. Where do you want this game to go? Like, what are you hoping to take from this game?
It's a difficult question to answer because it's different than what most DMs would answer. Because I'm also conscious that this is content.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want a business-wise for the channel. I don't want to be doing any more 60, 50, 40 plus episodes. I can't even hang on to that.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to hang on to Critical Role as long as it does, but it's so passive. It's just, I listen to it and that's it.
Yeah.
Relaxing. That's not how I want to make my content. So turning it like, okay, a 60 episode campaign should be 10 on the short end, 15 pushing on 18 as the long end. I think it's like, whoa, for somebody who's not into tabletop gaming, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A one shot, just having to be 4 episodes is insane because it's still too tight. So that's the kind of like content creation answer. Dungeon Master side. What I want out of this game is to, one, play with more people and new people. Because I play with Jarrett so much that it's like, in the most respectful way, I need to play with other people too, so that way my love for the hobby isn't tethered to any individual but myself. And then I can come back to any game with Jarrett and any of my other friends and feel refreshed. Mm-hmm. The world building aspect. I know that, like, I build a world because, one, I don't like my players knowing more about the world than I am, because otherwise there's no mystery, there's no exploring, and that's an aspect of the game that I think is important, and it has nothing to do with, like, I'm the dungeon master, I know the world better than you. Like, no, it's not about... If you're answering other players' questions about lore that has never been brought up, there's 2 ways to go about it. 1, either we improv, and that's yes. 2, I can tyrannically step in and say no. 3rd is chaos, I think. Where it's like, oh, it could be.
Yeah.
I'll let you be wrong.
Yeah.
I'll let you have the wrong opinion. Yeah. I want to practice my skills as a DM because I like the feeling of hosting a party for storytelling. And it's something that I was not even close to being good at or familiar with, and something that I now, especially with content, I grew up wanting to be a filmmaker, and I find D&D, and then to the next extent filming D&D, a much more interesting experience than writing a script.
Agree.
And then the feeling of playing D&D really brings me back to the Renaissance Festival with my dad. And so, like, there are so many, like, lovable things about it. And I learned that very early on during the pandemic, there is a wrong way to DM. And it's nuanced, because I think it all depends on the perspective. Because if everyone's perspective and expectations are aligned, what was wrong is no longer wrong, right? But I was like, okay, I'm thinking of DMing poorly. Like, I entered DMing during lockdown, and the first session was Lord of the Rings, basically. We're walking from the city to the town, and there's one goblin attack. That was 4 hours.
Oof, been there.
And everyone was tired after that.
Yeah.
And they were like, it felt very railroaded. I was like, well, you guys are walking to a town. After that, that's where, like, changing things up. Splitting the party on purpose. Forcing parties to split so that way I can jump to one person, spend a few actions, jump to the other, and now the game feels like it's moving faster, even though we're burning the same amount of time. One of the most influential, important interviews I ever watched was Sly Flourish. He interviewed one of the convention DMs. They have to DM an entire adventure within 60 minutes or less.
What?
Because people pay to play D&D at those tables, and then every 60 minutes, all right, you're done. Go to the next table.
Oh, I thought you said 16. I was
No,
like, what?
60.
Oh, it's an hour.
It's an hour.
I thought you were like a little over 15 minutes. I was like, ooh, who's subjecting themselves to that type of torture?
And he's talking about how he now manages other DMs at those conventions.
Right.
Because he's looking for the right DMs who go off the page. Because if you're on the page, you're barely going to make that 60 minutes.
Right.
If you go off the page, cut where you need to cut, get to what you need to get, listen to your players, who's invested in this, who's invested in that. Ask the players, like, hey, if we don't buckle down, we're not going to get to here by this end of time. Is that okay with you? Or and they're like, oh no, we just want to hang out. Great. All right, we can play a lot more relaxed for the next 30 minutes. And it's like getting that like soap opera DM perspective is super fascinating because you now know where the edge of the line is, and you can walk as close as you want to that line. In my off-camera game, one of my players has MS, and she can't play longer than 4 hours. So I took that interview as an important lesson of time management, and I had to practice and practice on telling the entire planned session in 4 hours or less. It's so hard. Like I said earlier, I thought where we got at the end of session 1 was supposed to be mid, but I was adding things last minute, like a week in advance.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, I want to do that. Oh, I should definitely try to do that. It might get long, but but I'm constantly thinking about my players' well-being during that. And I don't like being told that I can't do something. So I don't want to do that to players.
Gotcha. And I think it's interesting because you lean into your filmmaker aspect of that too, because in the game it didn't feel like you were rushing or like dragging at all.
No, it felt like I was the White Rabbit in Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
I was running late.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, I'm missing the train.
But that's the thing is like there were like from a player perspective, and like I'm curious to hear from other players once they get interviewed as well. But like the pacing of it felt like, okay, there is enough in this story for this second to breathe. There was enough for, okay, let's spin up the wheels a little bit. Let's go in this direction over here. Never once did I feel like, oh, he wants to push us over here, but we're diddling in this little area. Like you let us, I don't want to say diddle. Dawdle.
Diddle?
Diddle, I don't know. Dangle.
Linger?
Doodle, linger. There we go. And I think that's probably because you've done content and you know like, okay, people aren't going to pay attention to this. And that as a DM is like super important because there were sessions when I've been DMing for 6 years now. I
You're
think.
wonderful.
Oh, stop. In our last fight with the sea peoples, are we good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm eyeballing it.
Okay. In our last fight with the sea people and the crab.
That crab was so cool.
Because I felt like that was one of those instances where you're like trying to tell us like, do not fight these guys. Because I crit on that one dude and he was still standing. I was like, oh, okay, maybe not try to fight to the death. And I think we were outnumbered by like 5, I think at one point. And then when the magic caster like just suddenly appeared, I was like, cool, another person that we're gonna lose to. I think that like you didn't necessarily telegraph, but like we got there on our own, and I thought that was interesting until I had to fly off the handle and murder that guy.
Dude, that mechanic that we're running is so good. We're gonna hold off on that for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, it might come up again.
It might come up.
You know, it's dependent on if we survive or
I
not.
loved everyone's reaction. I think it was post game, but might have been still recording.
Yeah.
And then was that a rage? And you were like, it wasn't a rage.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. That was, yeah. Because, like, I had asked you pre-game, and I was like, are we doing this? He goes, maybe.
Depends if you get there.
So I was like, okay. And then I completely forgot about it. And then I looked down, and I was like, oh, oops. Cancel that. And then I had to, like, yeah.
But it came up at the best time.
Yeah.
Like, Taco successfully calmed everyone down.
And then I was like, nah, dude. We're still fighting. This old man's got some demons to work through.
Oh, man, it's so good.
Yeah.
What makes that mechanic... I'll name it, I won't describe it. The bloodlust mechanic.
Yeah.
What makes that mechanic so much better is the fact that we're playing the backstory moment for Halig.
Yes, you get to see why he has this.
And that comes into the filmmaking side. There are two reasons why we are doing flashbacks. One, in filmmaking, show don't tell.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell me what your backstory is, I'm gonna forget. But if we play it, it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think only from like one or two of the characters I've ever played that what their backstory feels like. My wizard from Curse of Strahd has one arm. The other one's a fake because it's Curse of Strahd. And I said to the DM, my backstory is I was an apprentice, and we had to escort nobles through the dark forest, and it was a full moon out. My arm got bitten off by a werewolf.
Okay.
Right. And then the players had to find out locked in a room with me as the moon came out through the window.
And you're a wizard?
And I'm a wizard.
And you're a wizard.
Yeah.
Wild.
That backstory is very vivid for me because it's very present as a werewolf. And I was like, oh, storytelling wise, show don't tell, we should experience it. It's important.
Yeah.
And if the game's supposed to be shorter, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's not really a good way of doing like, yeah, we're gonna have a dialogue scene and I'm gonna talk about my backstory.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you about my backstory. I'm a country werewolf.
And it's not as fun. And it's kind of like just sitting through a monologue a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, should we do a flashback? I'm not sure. I want to do something. And then at session 0, not the storyteller stepped in, the DM stepped in. All of you guys have family members that are alive?
Yep.
Screw you guys. I got rid of them. I've already gone through my trauma. Yep. I am safe.
I fully said that.
And I was like, I'm going to have flashbacks.
I'm going to hurt you real bad. Man.
You don't get to escape.
Yeah. Ugh. What was the impotence behind kicking it to Allie in that moment of like, does she make it?
What a tool. What a tool. But it's only potent on the most important questions.
Right.
And you have to pick carefully. Who do you ask? You have to either ask somebody who you know will say yes, or someone you know will say no. You can't just like hand it off to anyone who's the wild card.
Right.
Because this is a sensitive thing. This is Chris's backstory.
Right.
This is his character, his trauma that we're dealing with. So I pass it off to Allie, knowing that she's big in the romance.
You knew.
So I was like, there's an 80% chance of yes, 20% chance of no.
But if it's that no, it's the...
Oh, if she would have said no, I would still have passed the question off to Jordy. Because I liked the idea of that everyone at the table was a part of it.
Me too.
Originally, the question for Jordy was, do the stairs fall as you go upstairs? But then I realized at the moment you got to the door, I was like, oh, we never established if there are stairs. Right. Does the door fall?
Yeah.
And you got to do what every barbarian wishes they could do.
Kicking the door in.
Is kick the door in, and you get an advantage on a dex saving throw from a trap.
Yep.
No barbarian have I ever heard got to do that.
Nope.
Then Taco. I was trying to pick out who gets what.
Right.
And I was like, because you know Taco the most.
Yes.
I was
She
like,
will hurt me the most.
exactly. So she can't get the first question,
No.
but she can roll the Constitution saving throws.
Yep. Man. And it's interesting too, because I think like, especially how we did our session 0 of like, how do we know each other? What is our relationship? Like it really kind of like I as a player wouldn't have felt bad if Allie had just been like, no, she's dead.
Mhm.
I would have been like, great, I can play off of that.
Yeah.
There is an opportunity where like, you know, you pass it to a player and the person who's like not in charge of their own backstory or whatever can get upset.
Mhm.
But like, I think that it comes from this D&D DM player conversation, you know,
Yeah.
is communication.
Communication.
And I think we've done a good job.
I thought she was going to die.
I did too, honestly.
And then when I impulsed.
Yeah.
I was like, we're in initiative on the beach. You rolled, you don't wake up. And I was just like, I could just move on.
Or you could torture me a little bit more.
Or we could just quickly go to the past and see
Yeah.
how this feels.
Yeah. Yeah. I am so excited in a moment where Trace needs to make a roll where he needs to realize something, or he has to put that big, beautiful body of his.
Trace is Jordy's character.
Trace is Jordy's character, yes. I'm so excited for Jordy to just eat that scene alive where Trace suddenly has the realization of something, but it's an intelligence roll.
Jordy got stuck. He did. And in the most not his fault kind of way.
Yeah.
I put him there.
Yeah.
Everyone is down. She's running.
Yep.
You told her to. Here are a few options of choices, and I want to make it clear that those are not the only options.
Mhm.
Those are options that, like, get the brain moving, because you are in a stressful situation.
Yeah.
You got to know your outs. And he even tried. He did what I expect all clerics to do, is ask a god, which is just asking me.
Yeah.
And I was like, you don't want that to work, buddy.
No.
But his choice to put the sword away. I was like, okay, no one witnessed it,
Yeah.
but you know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then 16 points of force damage.
Oh, what? Yeah, that was. Oh my gosh. The
Level 2, 16 points.
level 2, man. It's brutal and like
Which is great.
it's great. It's
I'm
great.
so surprised no one took damage during the fight on the boat.
Well, that was the thing, is like we just the lightning lure, like getting that opportunity attack, and then just being apart enough where like we could do something. I think was really great.
Beach,
Beach,
Trace,
beautiful
bot intelligence check.
Yes, just handsome. That
So
so
handsome.
there is a moment, and like I hope it gets translated as comedy, because I really like in the moment I was like, this is a big swing and I'm going for it.
It's either going to be comedy
Yeah.
or it's just going to be shipping.
Yeah, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You're so handsome.
You're so handsome.
Because I'm looking at Jordy. Jordy is an improviser and a comedian, and like he understands like the idea of keeping things like truthful and everything. And I'm looking at him, and he's just looking at me, smiling, and I'm like, and it just came out. It was just like, you're handsome, and then he's like, what? Oh. Shoot. I am very excited to see where this game goes. I think that this group of players and you are making some really good stuff.
I think what helps me a lot is I have worked over the years, and it's not many years, is to reduce as many things I have to roll as possible. I have only 2 d20s behind the screen. Like, I have no reason to roll anything else because I can make a player roll. They got the dice.
Right.
And that's something I learned in session 1 was, oh, how good does it feel to make someone else roll for me?
Yeah.
Oh, can you make a Constitution saving throw for an NPC?
Yeah.
Do that. Thanks.
Yeah. And then it kind of, because it draws attention, it draws the attention off of you too. And like, it's not necessarily like, oh, Chris is going to roll bad.
Right.
This character is going to roll bad.
Mm-hmm.
But as we saw in the first episode, I did crit twice.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
I don't remember that.
It was the or no, I didn't crit.
You definitely crit against the creature on the beach.
Yeah. I thought I did something. Anyway, whatever.
Allie definitely critted like twice or three times.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
You never
You
crit?
did?
Oh. Someone crit.
Meridian crit.
Meridian did crit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Rogues.
But speaking of Allie, though, of the backstories that we've seen so far, I want to know everything about Brynn. I want to know why she hasn't left the island. I want to know who she is, what her beliefs are, and I'm excited for it.
I would like
Hobbs' death.
Brutal.
Wow.
Brutal.
I honestly, I wasn't expecting to pull a shark out that game.
I wasn't expecting to see it. Yeah.
Someone fell in the water though. I was
Yep.
like, I called
Could've
it.
been me.
I pitched it as Jaws, didn't I?
Yeah. Yeah. So many questions I can't ask you that pertain to things you probably can't answer.
You
Like
could
that.
try.
So okay, I'll try one. The wave at the
The wall.
the squall of water.
Yeah.
Were those eyes that thing that was mentioned, or was that just a physical representation of something going on? Damn it.
Don't know.
Damn it. I tried.
That's a good question because that is very mysterious.
Yeah, that is like, especially with the curse going on, there's like so much going on. A nightmare scenario happens and we all TPK. Are you going to follow the same story, or are you going to pivot with our new characters?
We'll see. I'll call it then.
Man, this guy. I appreciate that you have the confidence to like let yourself get there when the moment strikes, but as a DM, I'm like, I'm contingency planning.
I absolutely am. Like
Yeah.
I have planned a lot for this adventure.
Yeah.
A lot. But
You need to tell me. That's why I'm here, right? You're supposed to tell me the secrets.
I planned a lot, but there are certain things which I think all DMs kind of struggle with.
Sure.
You can plan too much for the outcome versus the scenario.
Mm.
And I think planning on what happens if you die, that's planning for an outcome.
Okay.
And a little bit of the beach scene was suffered from me planning as an outcome. It did suffer from that because my thought was the sea folk will show up, the crab will be there, I'll be able to knock one out at a time. And that's why with legendary action, I was able to hit Taco on someone else's turn super quick, but Taco didn't go down. And I was like, he's gonna go into combat.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the combat was going too long very quickly. And I was like, okay, next move. Communicate visually. This is not a winning scenario unless you make really good moves.
Gotcha.
More on this side. Boom.
Cool.
And then, I made a bad choice because you guys are still fighting. I was like, oh shit. Okay. Well, I'm going to bring in the NPC that's supposed to come in a little bit later.
Okay.
You see rain
Terrifying.
hit something that's not there.
Terrifying. The worst. Yeah. No.
And I was like, great, this character now is in. And what's even better, it's doing the job that when they were supposed to arrive was supposed to do anyway. And I was like, great. It's all falling into a similar piece. I'm satisfied. Taco's doing a great job as a player. Like, I'm going to communicate. I'm going to talk. They're talking. I'm going to talk.
Yeah.
And then Bloodlust.
Yeah.
And then I was like, taking these guys out.
Yeah. No, I am extremely excited, and I appreciate the opportunity to not only play in the game, but come here and talk to you about it.
Dude, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming
Hey.
after a busy day of work
Yes.
and talking and chilling. Now we're going to go eat some Thai food
Yeah.
and hang out and talk even more.
I'm going to grill you even more about your world.